Morning, folks. Here I am in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, at the Western Development Museum History of Transportation location. Join me on a tour. Some of their etiquette. Children aged 12 and under must be supervised by an adult at all times. Touch with your eyes, not your hands. Although there are some hands-on displays. This is a Jodelle D9. It's a home-built aircraft. The design is French, but it was modified in Canada to take a larger engine and fly at faster speeds. Rem Weller, formerly of Estevan, purchased plans from an Edmonton company in 1959 and built the plane. Waterous, Brantford, Canada. We are now going to proceed into the classy cars area. Although views differ on what makes an automobile classy, they usually include some reference to style, elegance, or superiority. Here we have a 1907 Russell touring car, the thoroughly Canadian car. Followed by the 1909 white steam car. From sewing machines to cars, Thomas H. White had been making sewing machines since the late 1850s. But White's sons were more interested in automobiles. By 1900s, they had developed a steam-powered car. About 19 were built in 1901. In 1901, they built their first automobile, later being taken over by the Ford Company. Here we have a 1911 Case touring car, followed by a 1930 Packard. Dissatisfied with the vehicle he had purchased, James Ward Packard decided he could make a better one. The first Packard was built in 1899. Old-time jukebox. And we have just walked past a 1938 Cadillac LaSalle. Each car has a little plaque next to it that tells you a little bit about the vehicle. Now here's got one that has a classy look to it. It's a 1975 Bricklin SV1. Flying wing car. Across from it we have the 1949 Chrysler Windsor. Followed by a 1955 Ford Crown Victoria, a car apart from all others. We are in the Western Development Museum's Moose Jaw location, where the theme is transportation. This is 1979 Lincoln Continental Town Car. I remember riding in one once. Now we're going into the Vehicle and Watercraft Gallery. With a little help from donors, they can get some more vehicles up and rolling. This is a 1926 Graham Brothers truck. When this truck was new, it rolled off the Graham Brothers assembly line in 1926. Saskatchewan was a bustling place. Some 828,000 people lived in 7 cities, 80 towns. Trucks were needed for the booming provinces hauling, and this was one of the first. 1926. Followed by a 1939 IHC truck. International are all trucks. 1925 Ford truck is right across from it. Model T debuted. When Henry Ford's Model T automobile hit the market late in 1908, a revolution in personal transportation was about to begin. List of their products. Always need fuel. 1934 Ford. It first started as a grain truck and then was modified. Now some more of the white, you saw the white cars before. Here's some of their trucks. Cod's Lake Gold Mines Limited. And of course again the 1925 Ford truck. Always been a buffer of trains. But this is a tram car. Commerce, Education, Industry, City of Saskatoon tram car. Streetcar. It's a 1929 streetcar. Regina was first, Moose Jaw 3 weeks later. Saskatoon was more than a year behind. On January 1st, 1913, nearly half of Saskatoon's 12,000 people celebrated the New Year with a ride on the city's new street railway. Now, some of these things are hands-on. This is CPR Superintendent's car from 1884. Original sleeping car converted in 1907 into an official car. Typewriter there. Elegant dining at its finest. We look in, you can see the furniture that they sat on in the offices. The model railway down there. CP Rail engine 6553. Did you know when the cabooses were no longer needed by legislation in Canada, both CN and CP donated many of them to communities that have converted them into tourist info centers, museum pieces, and other sorted. Now we're going up into the Canadian Pacific engine 2634. A little bit of hands-on in here. A little bit of information. It's where they used to shovel the coal. You can see the shovel there. Full steam ahead. I think I would have made a pretty good train conductor. What about you guys? Steering the shaft, going down the lane. Toot toot! Here comes the engine. Very hands-on. I love museums that are hands-on. And this one is quite. And that is a train you can hear a-going. Now there's train tracks here. 19th century, railroad building was a labor-intensive undertaking. One crew had to survey the road, another crew followed to clear the roadbed of bush and trees. Stone or gravel was laid and graded, then the rail line was put in. First wooden ties were laid 2 feet apart across the road, then steel rails were laid 4 feet 8.5 inches apart down the length of the road. The rails were fastened to the ties by plates and spikes. The laborers who built these lines were known as navvies. Handcar. Walking between the cars, Canadian Pacific caboose. Let's go up here and take a look in the caboose. Yes, people used to ride up there. Climb the stairs. Strong box that the conductor used to keep money in. First aid kit. The old gas lanterns. Dearly Limited, Winnipeg. Calendar from May 1923. If my brother Tim had been born in 23, instead of 67, he would have been born on a Tuesday. Coveralls, old benches. In the interest of fire prevention on the right-of-way or adjoining land, all employees starting fires and ranges, heaters, stoves are warned to use every precaution to avoid the emission of sparks. Also against poking fire while train is in motion. It is strictly forbidden to throw live coals, hot ashes, or any burning material from a train. Once again, I am in Moose Jaw at the Western Development Museum, where the theme is transportation. They do have 3 other locations. Canadian Pacific Railway shipping. Sorry about the interruption there, a bit of a glitch. Back once again, as I was saying, we're in the Western Development Museum, Moose Jaw branch, where the theme is transportation. The baggage room. Old ticker tape, Credit Valley Railway. Where are you going? Transmitters and such. Ticket box where you buy your tickets to go traveling. Into this car. After all, we gotta travel somehow. Kitchen right here. It's an old baggage car. It's a luggage being shipped and farm equipment. Yeah, that's where you'd sit if you were traveling. There's a conductor trying to get a ticket. Now we may die here, so I appreciate your watching because phone has occasionally do that. And yes, that is a car on the railway tracks. Many vehicles have been outfitted to be able to go on railways for different reasons. This vehicle was also a medical car. Hodge Coal, Colwood Oil. That truck used to be used to haul coal. It's 1937 Ford 2-ton truck. Now we'll go and look at some boats. Oil & Best Evinrude and the outboard motor. Did you know in 1914 Evinrude outsold the Meyer claim? Quite a history there on the Evinrudes in the Western Development Museum. This is a model of an old ferry. It's got a Model T truck, Ford Model T truck on board. Imagine riding one of those today. Maybe hold two of today's cars as you went going across the rivers. This was modeled after the Batoche ferry. Okimachuk. Okehumki. Quite a history of it right here. With an idea from Florida and a boat builder from England, a Regina businessman solved his daily summer commute to work from his cottage on Catapaw Lake in the Quackapala Valley. Robert Ferguson wanted to go down to Catapaquah Beach so he could catch the daily train to Regina. The year was 1912 and his options were limited. So he hired those people and designed this vessel. Here we have the Gull. It was a workhorse on water. The Gull was manufactured by Russell Brothers Limited of Fort Frances, Ontario, boat builder for the logging industry. Literature of the day described the boat as all steel from cabin to keel and powered with the Russell heavy-duty marine engine. Measuring 8.5 meters, 28 feet long, it was a workhorse. Saskatchewan rivers brought explorers and adventurers to the west. The rivers were the highways. Dog carts. Dog carts were horse-drawn vehicles designed to carry dogs for hunting. Dogs rode in the space underneath the seat. These old carts became pleasure vehicles and luggage was stored beneath the seat. Side to side, the dog cart could carry 4 passengers because of the dos-a-dos or back-to-back seating. Old peddler's cart over there. Barnett Hearst, 1950. The Packard Clippard from 1953. Look at the detail in these old vehicles. Chevrolet Series 150 from 1955. Some old model toys. Born in 1913 and raised on a farm north of Tuxford, Saskatchewan, Mary Ritchie taught herself woodworking to pass time during the winter months. When Moose Jaw in the 1950s, Ritchie began to create furnishing. She got model dollhouses for sale and for charity raffles. Later years, she also experimented with models of horses, wagons, and farm equipment. These models were sculpted by Mary Ritchie from Ontario White Pine. Toys that depicted popular models and modes of transportation have been a part of childhood for generations. A section of agricultural, transportation-related toys that you see here was purchased between 1955 and 1961. Motorcycles, Harley Davidson. This motorcycle was purchased by Alan Crutch in 1945 from Percy McBride, a military surplus dealer in Toronto, and shipped to Elbow, Saskatchewan by train. Local RCMP officer frequented the Crutch farm for the express purpose of riding this machine. There is a lot more to see here at this museum in Moose Jaw. Planes, trains, automobiles, boats, they're all here. Check it out if you're ever in Moose Jaw. The power on the phone is going to die here, so I'm having to call it a day with a smile out to an old friend with this gas pump.